So welcome, everyone. Welcome to VWMO 25 and our session of the day. Today, we're coming through the nonprofit in Second Life, and you'll be hearing a presentation by Cynthia Colon Lear-Lobo, who's a professor emerita at Colorado Technical University's Doctor of Computer Science program with 29 years of teaching experience. She has taught 62 higher education courses in virtual worlds and teaches doctoral AI classes. She's a former software engineer from the USAF Space Command. She designs virtual environments and tests her game simulations at Virtual Harmony in OpenSim. At Parker University in Dallas, Lear teaches computer science and has published 3 books, 5 book chapters, and 45 plus papers and 377 presentations. She is co-chair of the Nonprofit Commons and co-organizes the Open Simulator Community Conference. And she will be speaking with Dr. Andrew Stricker, who is Spinoza Quinnel in Second Life, who has worked for Air University as an instructional architect, for Vanderbilt Medical School as associate provost, and at Texas A&M as director of the Knowledge Engineering Complex. He designs thought-provoking game simulations that bridge philosophical and spiritual concepts through transcendentalism. AI research scholar, he bridges deep thoughts with the human experience. Spinoza is a visionary and a mastermind behind Virtual Harmony, a research virtual world where we meet, test, collaborative designs, and share reflective mindsets and contemplative practices. He hosts the Grid, designs 3-day mesh scripts, animates, creates arts, and trained our AI virtual world model. I can't wait for this. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you, Val, for graciously screen sharing for us at the Zoom meeting. And you can see Val sitting there. You can see everyone's names. There's VWEC and Val Librarian Greg. Just want to say that the actual event is going to start in about 25 minutes. But before that, there is the Nonprofit Commons meeting. And I believe, Val, this is a weekly meeting that takes place right here every week at this time. So if anyone's interested in joining next week or even right now, I'll add the link in the chat so that you can join us.
Exactly, Nellie. This Nonprofit Commons meets every Friday morning at 8:30 Pacific time. We call that SLT, Second Lifetime, or Grid Time in many other virtual worlds, because Second Life is based in California, which is Pacific time. So this is 8:30 a.m. Pacific time every Friday, right here on CamOut. And you can see it's a beautiful simulation with mountains in the distance. And many people have offices here. Many of these buildings that you see are offices of a variety of nonprofits with various interests for social good, for all kinds of different subject areas. And they actually offer free offices to nonprofits here if you fill out a form to help people understand how to network in the metaverse. Many educators also collaborate with this group, the Nonprofit Commons. And right now, at the beginning each week, you'll see the local chat over here. I'll wiggle the window. You can see that is the text chat where people are going to start by introducing themselves. A little bit about where they are in the world. It's a global community. What they're in the metaverse for, what's their purpose, whether they're teaching, whether they're a subject area expert, an artist, a musician, whatever their focus is, they can share here through the nonprofit commons and build a professional learning community. You'll also see in the chat right here, there's a notice going out to groups. Many different groups in Second Life are interested in the nonprofit commons, such as the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium, the Virtual Worlds Education Roundtable, and Whole Brain Health. These are the groups that are hearing, starting now, learn about 3D design of Native American concepts for lifelong learning, professional growth, and innovation as part of the 2025 Virtual Worlds MOOC, presented by Cynthia Koyne, that's Logo, and Andrew Stricker, Spinoza Quinnel. So the groups hear about these events through the nonprofit commons. Rhiannon is saying some of today's presentation may be in voice. That will be later on when we start the program. And some in text chat. Rhiannon will be typing any additional notes or a rough transcript as we go along. So we can use the voice as well as the local chat simultaneously. So let's start off with introductions. Rhiannon asks everyone to type in chat what they're comfortable sharing with us, what projects or organizations you might be a part of in Second Life, your real world information if you choose to, your geographic location, any ways we can find you online or in social media to build that professional learning network. Rhiannon is Joyce Betancourt, designer and community organizer in Boston. She's also the co-lead of Avocon.org. And she's the leader of the nonprofit commons here in Second Life. Their logo, greetings. She is Cynthia Koyne, Professor Emerita, as Nellie has introduced. And she serves on the MPC board as Education Co-Chair. She also co-hosts the Open Sim Community Conference, and she conducts research at Virtual Harmony using the Open Simulator platform. Buffy Beale, Buffy Bai, is in Victoria, British Columbia. She's part of the Metaverse Libraries Board, a volunteer for the Virtual World's Best Practices in Education Conference, and there are many social links that she's sharing there. So you can see at the meeting, you can learn about people and connect and find a mentor or find a colleague with shared interests. Sumu Magic, a retired academic law librarian. She works with me at the Community Virtual Library and directs the Info Center for the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. Gentle Heron is the organizer, leader of Virtual Ability, sharing much information about accessibility for people with any type of disability, both in the physical world, but also in the virtual world, a great place to help people with disabilities. Ava Dugal, a mixed media visual artist and sculptor, following a dream vision of the evolution of collective global philanthropy. Oh, that's a mouthful. She's passionate about libraries, learning, safe community spaces, future nurturing for the planet, and supporting and amplifying the work of nonprofits globally. And you can find more information in chat. These chats are also archived so that people can go back and look at them later. Stephen Supfly, that is Stephen Gazier in real life in Iowa. And he works with the Science Circle in Second Life. And this summer, he launched a new course in Second Life called Engagement Clinic, which just ended and will most likely happen again. Avocon Grid are things he's also interested in virtual worlds. Molecular biology scientist in real life. I like to say physical life because the virtual world is a real place. SLRL, Second Life, real life being the physical world. Zinnia Zauber is Renee Amico Brock, an artist and instructor, a superhero. She's very encouraging for students in the future. And she's in Sequim, Washington, and there's social media where she works as a professor at Peninsula College. She's a co-chair here at the Nonprofit Commons. Idiko is an artist and an instructor and does disability discussions and seminars here at Second Life. And Rosalind is in the physical world and an organization called homemakersguild.org, a community for homemakers that's just starting. So many different perspectives and interests that we can find here in the metaverse. Oh, I better put mine in. And I'm Valerie Hill, Val Librarian in Virtual Worlds. I'm an information science educator and researcher in Seattle. I'm also the director of the Community Virtual Library and the co-coordinator of the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium, working on a digital citizenship outpost. You'll see there are some animal avatars over here. Idiko, a beautiful white tiger, and Zri, a bird. The variety of avatar identity is illustrated here. Some people choose to be bright and colorful as Buffy. Some choose to look exactly like their physical world self, such as Zinnia. And others are still joining. My avatar, Val Librarian, I choose to wear books on her head as a tip of the hat to when book was king, but it no longer is. I love books, but print is no longer top. Most content is born digital. But we don't want to throw away our history. Continue to zoom in on folks as Rhiannon says, if you joined late, please still introduce yourselves as we go. It's an informal networking opportunity this first half hour before the program every Friday begins. The program starts promptly at 9 a.m. every Friday. So now Rhiannon is moving to community updates. The mission of the Nonprofit Commons in Second Life is to connect communities of social good through education, networking, and collaboration. And she's put the links in the chat, actually there, where you're looking in at these people sitting here. If you have an avatar, you can stand up, move around. If you're going to speak, you can walk up there and sit on one of these little stools in the front. It is a real space, albeit virtual. And is asking there for the upcoming Nonprofit Commons schedule, so people know what events to look forward to in the next few weeks. Balancing life amidst worldviews. Next week is the 18th anniversary celebration of the Nonprofit Commons, 18 years here in Second Life. We have openings for speakers from September 5th to October 17th. On October 24th, a session on AI called The Leprechaun and the Librarian. The leprechaun being give you the gold. AI is good at that. With Roro Pillow in Second Life. And then on Halloween, we have an opening. Someone may come up with a special event for October 31st. In November, on November 21st, right around Thanksgiving, the Nonprofit Commons will celebrate the annual Community Harvest, which is organized by the Community Library, Community Virtual Library. It encourages people to bring to the harvest table what it is they share in virtual worlds. And right here at the Nonprofit Commons, there's a resource library. Out front, there's a big harvest table to celebrate Thanksgiving in 3D with what we bring to the harvest table. Celebration of 18 years here in Second Life with the Nonprofit Commons. I'm zooming in as Nellie walks down from the landing point to choose a seat. And then on these cushions, you simply right click and you can choose a variety of poses to get comfortable and feel a part of what's going on. So now Zinnia is telling a little bit about the celebration next week. Join us for a Kaleidoscope afternoon tea for a refined and elegant experience with dainty treats, sweet friends, and butterfly wings on Friday, August 29th, starting at 8:30 a.m., Second Lifetime with DJ Tori. And I'll point out that people like to dress for the occasion, so I imagine there'll be some fine clothes and hats for a dainty tea celebration next Friday right here at the Nonprofit Commons. And Zinnia points out that fun to fancy tea apparel encouraged but not required. You can pick up a pair of butterfly wings in the gift box up front next to the tier tray of treats. I'll zoom in to show you. Looks like this is a tray of treats up here. And then you can get some butterfly wings. A kaleidoscope is a group of butterflies. So it will be informative and a fun party. Oh, wait, look, here's the tray of treats. That was the coffee center over on the other side. There's the treats and some gift boxes. You simply touch, and then up here at the top, accept your nonprofit commons wings. It's a gift. So I'll accept it, and I'll have wings next week for the party. Cynthia is passing the mic back to Rhiannon for further updates in the Zoom chat if something's unclear. Nellie's pointing out, if you have Second Life trouble, there is now a mobile app. You don't get the full immersive experience, but at least you get a glimpse inside what's going on in the world, and it's great for on the go so that you don't miss out if your community is doing something you're really interested in. Shannon is asking if there is a quick open mic time, if folks have anything that they want to share. And this time, usually people can talk about upcoming events, projects they're working on. And she says, if you have an upcoming Virtual Worlds MOOC presentation, feel free to share that. So I will put the MOOC schedule in the local chat here in Second Life. I've got it right here on my desktop, so I'll put that in. I'll stay in. I see Lear has it ready too. She's saying schedule for the VW MOOC 2025. So there's a lot of support and help across communities with finding information, sharing it. And if you miss out, great thing that you can do in virtual worlds, you can simply right click on someone and ask them a question. I'll right click on Nellie just to show you. I am in turn. Just showing an I am person. So you can ask, you can actually whisper amongst the group, and it really helps use the time wisely to network and help each other. Like it's almost time for the program to begin. And Nellie replied, "Hi, Val." And you see that did not interrupt the program at all, but behind the scenes, we can do back channeling if you're coming late and you have a question without interrupting the full group. Oh, Nellie's wondering where the box with the wings is. I'll zoom in on it. It's right up here to the left of the speakers. There's, for the high tea, there's a pretty little dainty treat tray, and then there's 2 boxes of wings. You simply touch that box and you can get your wings. So there's a good example of using the instant messaging feature without interrupting the group. I'll close these chat windows that were reminders.
I also wanted to mention that you can also speak privately with anyone without disturbing the others. So it's not
Yes.
just messaging system, it's also by voice.
Yes, you can do a phone call, a little call, but private calls as well. So lots of different ways to interact and connect during an event, and at other times. So Nonprofit Commons does have mentors who can help you. And so does the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium if you land at their landing point or come to the info center. So if you're new, that's a great place to start and get people who can help you learn the interface. You don't have to learn everything in the interface. No one uses every single feature. So you can start with just the basics.
I'm going to come in with voice, so it will be at both places.
Can you hear Lear?
For some reason she's echoing, but I think it's her end, not yours.
So we're going to segue over to what is our featured part of today.
Oh, it
which
could be
is
me.
part of the
I'm
Virtual
leaving.
Worlds MOOC. And I think, how are you on the MOOC side of things, Val?
You're coming in nice and clear, and it looks like I can turn off my mic. So my mic will be off, but we hear you.
Is she already recording?
Yes.
Ready to go?
We're ready to go. She did the introduction, and you can take it away with the program.
Fantastic. All right. So I'm going to put in a little bit about that. So today we have 3D concepts of Native American, of Native American concepts for lifelong learning, professional growth, and innovation. And as I said before, this is part of the 2025 Virtual Worlds MOOC and presented by Cynthia Koyne, Lear Lobo, and Andrew Stricker, Spinoza Quinnel. And I put a little blurb in there about their project. And with that, I don't know if you guys want to take it away with what yours is.
Thank you, Joyce. And hello, everyone. Thank you. And thank you to Andy. Let's test Andy's voice also. That's Spinoza next to me.
I'm here.
You sound great.
Great.
And by the way, for those of you not familiar with our project, which is probably very few of you, but we've been meeting since 2008, Andy and I, and he invited me to join the group. But, you know, he and I began our journey when we were 10 years old. We were in grade school and high school together, and then later college. And then we went off in different directions. And because of the EDUCAUSE review, we got back together again, and we've been conducting game simulation research and all kinds of wonderful activities together in both Second Life and in Open Simulator. So Andy, I'm going to let you introduce the project. I'm going to put some text into the text chat about our backgrounds and then pepper it with what you're saying. Over to you, Andy.
Oh, thank you so much. And it has been a marvelous journey with you, Sin, over a lifetime. And it's one of the most gratifying experiences that I can possibly imagine, to have the gift of a friendship that long. So it's wonderful always to be able to present with you. And this project is near and dear to several of us. I think many of them are here with us today. I want to call out Wisdom Seeker and Dragon Doe. They've helped us with this part of the project that we'll be sharing about today. The the community that we are part of is a small group, and we refer to it as Virtual Harmony, and it comes. It has an inspiration from the Harmony Society. I grew up on a small farm outside of New Harmony, Indiana, and it's a utopian community that was started by Germans and later became a utopian community of scientists under Robert Owen. So it has a long history of entrepreneurship and innovative forms of how people organize into communal uh, efforts We are, in some ways, I think, Lyra, you would agree with me, we are continuing that tradition in the digital realm.
Yes, we are. In fact, didn't they have over 300 inventions and some amazing content? Two different societies formed there, and we
Yes.
grew up about 40 minutes away. And so, of course, we were both heavily influenced by having this scientific community nearby that had tried all kinds of alternative lifestyles, to foster innovation. And of course, it inspired us. And so we call our group Virtual Harmony, and Andy has named us the Harmony Arts Society Fellowship of Friends. Back to you, Andy.
Thank you. So we've been working on this project that is introducing some concepts from several Native American tribes that address, we believe, some interesting perspectives for rebalancing life in the midst of chaos and turmoil. And we'll talk at length on that in the presentation that we'll share today. The genesis for the early work, what we call part one of this effort, comes from actually a very inspirational research done by MIT and Berkeley when they went out in the early part of the 1940s and 50s to transcribe the Salish Bitterroot language structure. And they recorded thousands upon thousands of Salish words and broke them into their conceptual structures. And we were able to get access to that marvelous archive digital collection. And we used that to create an immersive experience of going to a Salish tribe and learning about their history and addressing some of their perspectives about life. I just want to say quickly, Sen, that I always like to highlight that the Bitterroot, the Salish Bitterroot tribe in Montana has a long history of being close to several events in our early history. They helped save the lives of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and as a result, Thomas Jefferson gave them a very special dispensation, and today the tribe is doing very well in Montana. We have a picture, by the way, the Bitterroot Salish here that was taken in 1903. And they're in what they call the Bitterroot Valley along the Bitterroot River and the Bitterroot Mountain Range of Montana, and so it's very, very scenic and lovely. It's worthwhile for a visit there. We also took the work of Professor Miroslav Volf at Yale. Him and some colleagues a few years back started a course for the undergraduate students at Yale called A Life Worth Living. And they highlight some very similar perspectives that the Bitterroot Salish also incorporate in their perspectives about life. And so we combined the model that they teach at Yale for their undergraduate students and with the Bitterroot Salish, and we combined also some Navajo and Lakota, other concepts into this simulation. And I guess, Cindy, are you controlling the slides for us? Thank you. So the part two effort is looking at this phenomenon that actually Immanuel Kant identified, what he referred to as worldviews of how we organize our experiences in life and our values and beliefs and attitudes into a worldview. It's sort of a schema of sorts that we interpret for meaningfulness of things that we experience. And other German philosophers picked up on Immanuel Kant's work, Soren Kierkegaard and Martin Heidegger, some of these people you might know, Karl Jaspers, and they basically say that it's a worldview is very dynamic and evolves throughout a lifetime of a person. And if they get disturbed because of trauma, chaos, they can become very difficult for people to adjust and feel as if they're connected to others and events in their life. And so it's referred to as dissolution. So in this simulation, we introduce the 4 foundational worldviews, and then we also introduce a Native American worldview, and we talk about where there might be opportunities for people to look at their worldviews and their perspectives, and if they're experiencing trauma and chaos, to look for a way to integrate the good that can come from each of these worldviews. And I just want to briefly shout out to Dragon Doe in particular. She's introduced us to the work of Peter Levine, a trauma specialist, and the techniques for self-regulation and healing. And so much of Dragon Doe's insights have been very, very helpful as we've been working on this second part of the simulation. Next slide, please, Sin. Now, what's interesting about some of the work, the more recent work, is that these worldviews have very strong properties for grounding people, and naturally, given personalities of individuals, we tend to gravitate towards those that have similar worldviews. So we address the 4 basic ones: the scientific, the religious, the individualist, and the romantic, and we'll highlight some of those elements of what makes these worldviews unique. So people can get to a point where they live very clustered in their ways of interpreting events around them and making sense of things. And there's some positive qualities to that, but there can be negative qualities associated with isolating ourselves in a particular worldview. And it's quite difficult to stay open to different worldviews that are not of your own, and it can cause you to feel sort of out of balance. And Hopi tribe talks about this. They have a phrase called Koyne, where you can get to a situation in your life where you feel out of balance. Things are just not connected for you. It's very challenging to feel like things make sense in events that you're experiencing. Next slide, please, Sam. So one of the things that we wanted to do was introduce the work of Henri Nouwen. He was also at Yale, and I became familiar with his work when I was a student there. And he talked about this concept of wounded healers. And I became absolutely fascinated with Henri Nouwen's perspective. But he makes the claim that if you go through trauma in life and you become wounded with events that happen and you work to deal with the out of balance consequences of those experiences, that gives you very unique opportunities to acquire empathy and a deep understanding of other people's wounds. And so we felt that there would be some value in introducing the concept of wounded healers. And as it turns out, wounded healers hold a very special place in many Native American tribes. They are people that are identified as having very painful experiences in their own life, and they are able to reach out and help others with their painful experiences because of what they themselves have gone through and are working on. And as it turns out, that is a theme that runs in current work by trauma therapists. And so we feel like this simulation has a lot of connectiveness in many different areas of interest with trauma. Next slide, please, Sid. So we have two basic learning objectives. This is for all the educators out there. We emphasize a basic level of understanding as you go through the simulation to learn about the basic worldviews and the importance of the Native American perspective and interconnectedness and balance. And so we share some of these elements regarding the holistic sense that people can acquire about their place in the universe in relation to all things and people. So we want to make the effort with this simulation to at least acquaint people that you don't have to be antagonistic to different worldviews. There's possibility to actually work in a connective way with worldviews. So if you're meeting people from various cultures and backgrounds, you can work to bridge and build shared understandings. And some of you know my background in the military and the years I spent 44 years with the Air Force, believe it or not. Some would say a bit too long, but we actually saw great value in this concept of wounded healers for military leadership, and I may speak more to that later. Now, here's some characteristics that have been identified by Henri Nouwen's work and others that are looking at wounded healers across the professions. Many people, whether it is the profession of arms or divinity, counseling, and so forth, talk about these characteristics, and we've addressed them in some of our papers on leadership models. But basically, these are the 5 characteristics that people seem to connect well with. But because you have a personal experience of pain, trauma, or adversity, this really can give you a profound understanding. And we don't say to people that we want people to go through trauma and bad experiences, but it seems to be almost a part of the human condition that all of us in life become wounded in some way or the other. But there's also, because of our ability to work through and experience healing, we can experience self-transcendence and empathy. We can transcend our own wounds. And this helps us to build a connection with others that involves trust and in such a way that we can work for the common good. Because of this deep insight about life, it inspires us as wounded healers to pursue lifelong growth. So some of you educators, we're always interested in inspiring our students for lifelong learning and growth and in the professions. And this is something that I believe this area of work speaks to very well. The other quality that resonated well with our senior military leaders is the calm and chaos that this healing process can help you deal with, because in the military profession, I would say in the medical profession, I have a background in that area too, there is a lot of chaos. And there are no textbook solutions for chaos. You have to do a lot of on-the-fly problem resolution and adaptations that's under a constant adaptive mode of operating. And it's very, very helpful to be able to be calm when you're in the midst of chaos and difficult situations, and wounded healers tend to be able to do that. And then this last major characteristic, I think, speaks so importantly to the times that we're in, of that people that have these characteristics have hope and perspective. You know, there's a lot of despair and sense of helplessness among those I'm sure many of us are acquainted with, if not ourselves in our life. And wounded healers can bring hope and perspective. I often refer to it as bringing light in darkness, and so it has properties of reconnecting and giving people an opportunity to rebalance and see a deeper meaning to the troubles and wounds that they go through in life. Next slide, Sen. There is a Lakota phrase, all my relations. I wanted to include this because the belief of this expression is that there is a deep meaningfulness and growth that can come from the healing of our wounds and chaos. And this builds a connection with ourselves. And I know some of the trauma people that work in trauma talk about this, that we all have a connectiveness, and when we begin to appreciate and value that and sense it and see it, we can be in the moment with others when we're with them and we're not distracted, and this helps us tremendously. And there is an interesting Lakota set of practices that we brought into the simulation about how to be in the moment and be aware of the others around you and the connectiveness as you're working through the healing process. And so we brought 3 of them into the simulation. One is called the 4 directions reflection. This is when you purposely orient your body in the 4 directions and in prayer. And the Lakotas have wonderful, beautiful prayers. I have one here at the bottom of the slide. And they encourage you to be in a sacred place. You don't always have to be, but we did replicate one of the sacred places very near and dear to many Native American tribes, and that's water, and waterfalls in particular. Waterfalls are seen as very sacred. And we have a pretty interesting waterfall location for the simulation. And they also stress the importance of the eagle, symbolic visualization of the eagle in their activities, because of the healing and the lifting properties of being able to thrive in life, that we are meant to thrive. We're meant to come out of darkness into light. And so we address that in the 3 particular reflection activities. Next slide, please, Sin. As we shared, we try to do a collaborative effort to build these kinds of simulations. And you're welcome. I'll put in the chat the URL to come out to this particular area. This is our Algernon region that we keep on the Amazon cloud, so you can go out 24/7 and see this area. And so we welcome. We always like to have visitors, and we like to, if we can arrange to come out and spend time and talk about the work. Next slide, please. So one of the things that we've learned to do over the years is to encapsulate our simulations as much as we can. We include entire simulations on massive regions, but we also encapsulate so they can be portable and brought up on demand. And then the space can be cleaned up and used rather dynamically. And we've done the same with this particular simulation. So it's a 360 PR Vision virtual sphere. We actually have physical virtual spheres that we have put together with VR headsets, but that's another time for another presentation. But we've built our immersive virtual spheres, so you get the full 360 experience as you work through the different worldviews. Next slide, please, Sen. So we have multiple devices that when you get into this virtual sphere to support the simulation, you can call up each of the worldviews, the 360 manifestations. We have completion badges. We do a lot of different types of simulations in Unity and OpenSim, and also web-based applications. And we offer at different age levels and completion sorts of indicators. So badges is one of the things that we've done, and we've got those available in this simulation. None of these interactive devices are mandatory, but we like to bring multiple venues of ways to interact because people have different learning styles and interest in how they want to interact with these immersive spaces, and we try to accommodate that. We have a wounded healer pouch you can put on yourself that gives you the Lakota reflection activities that you can participate in. And we have an orb that has an AI interaction. And I'm going to share a little bit about the AI. We build our own AI agent using OpenAI tools and calls to their engines. So we do all of our own coding in Python and PHP and multiple script languages to support our simulations. And it's all done on Linux virtual machines. So it gives a lot of flexibility for us. Next slide, please. So these are the three, these are the worldview simulation, worldviews that we have in the simulation. And so as you interact with the devices, you can bring up each one. And I'm going to show you some examples of what you would see. Next slide, please. When you get into the virtual sphere, you start out with going through a portal. If you make it to Algernon, there's a treehouse in the center of the region. I think most of us in our small group, we like tree houses. We've probably built our share of them when we were young. So now we have a tree house there that we have some of our meetings in. But you go through a waterfall and you get into this simulation sphere, and that's where you start as you work your way around the entry to the overlook. Next slide, please. So you basically, when you arrive, acquire this simulation HUD, and that's what you see displayed on the right-hand side. And this is where you can track the activities for the worldviews and acquire the badges and interact with the AI agent. And we have created a mechanism for that interaction. And we're in the process of training the AI agent. We've named this AI agent Blossom Bitterroot after the Bitterroot, the Salish Bitterroot tribe in Montana. So next slide, please.
Hey, Andy, before you move
Yes.
off of that, are you
Yes.
still using Scout also, or?
Well, yes, we have multiple AI agents in the first part of this simulation. that takes place in the village, the Bitterroot Salish village. There is a scout that guides you through the village and the surrounding areas, and they interact with each other to help the participant explore and consider the different resources and instructional properties as they travel their way through the various points. So here is the individualist worldview. This is a worldview that emphasizes self-control and how people, take a certain pride in their ability to handle their own affairs, so to speak. This is like a Marcus Aurelius perspective, very stoic, and and that's why we have Rome represented here. Marcus Aurelius Meditations, if you haven't read it, is well worth the read. A Roman general and emperor is considered to be, I guess, the greatest Roman emperor, a scholar and soldier and so forth. But it was all about having self-knowledge and awareness of your abilities and managing the affairs of your life and so forth. And when it goes out of balance, the Koyne Skotsky Native American perspective, it can get into very narcissistic-like behaviors if you are not really aware and have empathy about others. It can create a life out of balance. Next slide, please. Yes.
Excuse me. I didn't know if you saw the question from Namara. So how does this help an individual going through your process?
So as you go through it, the AI agent asks questions and gives summaries and collects your perspectives, and that is used in the feedback at certain points and other activities of the simulation. So part of the interesting part, I believe, with this simulation is the introduction. So there's people that haven't been introduced to the concept of worldviews. So for some, this is very, very new, and we're having to introduce these concepts in a way that it's not overwhelming. And so the simulation is set up where you can come back to it. So as you go in and out of the Algernon region, it retains where you're located in the simulation. You can pick back up and follow on from where you left off. Next one, please.
We had a follow-on question. Or is your focus mostly on the tech aspect or on this personal experience?
Well, I'm sharing some of the tech just simply because it helps to understand how this simulation works, but our motivation and the value is certainly what I shared earlier about people to self-reflect on their wounds in life and understand their perspectives and how they look at things and how they interpret meaningfulness. And when they look at these things from the Native American perspective with the activities, they can get a better sense of maybe working through their pains and experiences so they can feel healing and get to a better place in life where they're not feeling as if their worldview is dissolving and they're alone and isolated. They can actually reconnect with others, even if they have different worldviews. So the romantic worldview is the perspective that you take an artistic view of life, and you tend to be very positive, and you want to see a great deal of new beginnings, and you represent your deepest held emotions in all the various art forms, whether it be poetry, music, and so forth. So we picked Venice as a manifestation of the uh, of this particular worldview. So you might think of, for example, the romantic poets of Keats and Shelley and Byron and others, and so any of you in the audience that come from the humanities area know how inspirational this particular worldview can be for the imagination. But it can lead to uh, getting out of balance when uh, you lose hope and become very cynical and nihilistic in your perspective of things. And uh, so each of these worldviews that I'm sharing that have been identified have really positive elements to them. And then if if you become increasingly isolated and disillusioned, they have elements that bring about a negative emotions in your life and chaos, and you create an out of balance situation for yourself. So, next slide, please.
Well, I'm going to interject there for just a moment, Andy. I had made a mention of STEM as STEAM because, of course,
Very good.
I'm always interested in science, technology, engineering, and math, and the arts. The arts
Yes.
are a critical component. We've been saying that for a very long time. And we don't just mean AI art, or we don't just mean these minor experiences of it. We really mean a deep grounding in it that, is kind of like when you're out in nature and you have this amazing experience and you realize that you have a perfect day. This is a moment in time that matters to you. How do you capture that and use it as a grounding to give you strength during the difficult times, during the chaos? And, you know, um, Marley talked about, the importance of dealing with constant change. And many of you in your social good work are working with people who feel wounded, and you too may be a wounded healer. So we wanted to share this with you because as we were developing it, I was thinking of it as the evolving work that defines why the last 17 years mattered. What matters about our experience in these spaces? And for Nonprofit Commons, we've been together 18 years, but Andy and I have been working on these projects for 17 years. And so we think about this, we think, where are we going? And what have we learned from this? It's not just arts and crafts in virtual worlds. It's not just creating experiences. It's creating something that transforms us
Mm.
and helps us to transcend. Whatever your beliefs are, everyone has them, right? And so it has respect for diverse cultures, for some of our roots. Some of you know that I have Native American roots, and I love the fact that we combine all these cultures to really provide a thoughtful look at why virtual world spaces matter, why education in these spaces matter, and why social good matters. Okay, Andy, on to the next slide.
Great. Thank you. Wonderful thoughts, and thank you for sharing that. So, the religious worldview is fairly interesting too, and we picked Jerusalem as a manifestation of the sense that with this worldview that there is experience as a believer in whatever particular religious perspective a person holds, that there's a deeper meaning to one's life and as a believer, and you feel connected to something beyond yourself, and that gives you meaningfulness. And the as is true for any of one's journey in this particular worldview, it can lead to rigidity and exclusiveness associated with whether someone is in or out. And there was some of that with the Harmony Society that Lear and I have talked about from our backgrounds. The Harmony Society was very isolated at times in Germany and when they came to the United States. And so they were misunderstood, and they had challenges. And so we believe that it's very important to understand where the goodness comes from this particular worldview and where things can become out of balance as well. So next slide, please, Sen. So with the scientific worldview, we picked London. We have a fondness for certain places, and as you travel in virtual harmony, we have, I think we're up to like what 24 regions or so now. Sin, I think that's the number. But we have many different locations represented in our simulations, and the what's interesting about the role of the scientific worldview is the importance of looking at and observing as much of the facts and observations that others can also make sense of and confirm. So certainly Sen and I have a strong background in this worldview, and I would associate myself as a humanist with this particular worldview, and somewhat of an empiricist. I taught statistics for a number of years at the Air Force Academy and in Texas and at Vanderbilt University. And so I've contributed to developing a generation of people that have strong affinity for the scientific worldview. But it also, as it gets out of balance in one's life, you can become a very deterministic type of have determinism in your perspective that what's left to chance, what's left to free will, what's left to the serendipitous part of life. And so I think, Lear, reflecting on our time together over the years, I think with our particular very diverse group of people, it's helped me to not go as far down this path of the scientific worldview, and it's helped ground me more towards the center, in which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Next slide, please. So with the Navajo worldview, Hózhó is a term that they talk about that's holistic, and it's important to consider the connectiveness of all things, and in those that we meet in life that have different perspectives. This is something that we've emphasized in almost all of our professional communities that we're a part of, is the value of people from their different life experiences. And I think, Sen, I don't want to speak for you entirely, but I think we would both agree that all of our simulations have been so much better because of diverse experiences and shared perspectives that people have helped us with over the years. And so this worldview talks about that and emphasizes that in the simulation. And so we could have gone down a negative path with the different worldviews, but we didn't in the simulation. We tried very much to stay on the positive side and look for the connectiveness among the worldviews. Next slide, please.
Now, Andy, at that
Yes.
point, and Namara had a follow-on comment.
Oh, yes.
What I'm not understanding, she says, is how the simulation integrates a Western approach to healing with an Indigenous worldview.
Yeah, well, we do our best with emphasizing the meditative mindfulness connections between Western civilization and reflectiveness and the Native American perspectives, and we do our best with the the uh, the field of what I would say the somatic uh, trauma work and that we're being helped with dragging those insights. And we obviously have a strong cognitive background. I'm a cognitive scientist by training, education, and so we understand some of the processes associated with and the semantic importance of the emotions that we experience in life when things don't go well for us. We get the wounds, and when we uh, have interacted with Native American uh, uh, individuals who work with people that are wanting to be healed from wounds in life, they speak of the same sense of internal turmoil. And they talk about a very interesting model that relates to Western religious perspectives. They have the Navajo in particular have a sense of what they call the four worlds. And we're, according to the Navajo perspective, we're in the third world right now, and the third world is full of chaos and turbulence. That is meant to help us understand and become better and relating, connecting to all things. For the fourth world, and the fourth world is a harmonious world. And that's made possible because of our growth and wisdom that we acquire in the current third world in which we all participate in. So there is a natural connection actually between Native American belief systems and structures and some of the Western, what we might call the Western perspectives as well. And I think that's one of the key advantages of the simulation is to highlight this so people become aware of that connection. So the Blossom AI agent interaction, it currently uses the GPT-4 Omni model. We have I'm not sure if you can go back to the previous slide, Sen, but we have a oops, not that far back, but okay. So let me see here.
Don't mind me. I'm just sitting
Okay.
here thumping along.
Okay. We'll
If I
get there.
thump too fast, I just land on it, okay?
But
So let me pop
we
back
have
into
a
there we go.
we have a slide that shows the interface, and this is for the instructor, facilitator, to set the properties up as we evolve. Now, I do want to take a moment to emphasize something, and Lear, please uh, contribute as you can or want.
Sure.
But we are very, very cautious with the use of AI in our work. Matter of fact, most of all that we do with AI is experimental and prototyping. We never ever claim that it's operational. So we're very, very careful with that element. And so we train the agent, but these are imperfect uh, models that are available, the tool sets. There is a GPT 5.0 that's going to be introduced soon. We do stay current with the various GPT models to experiment with them, but overall, over the years, we built some of the first AI applications in Department of Defense. We were involved in that work from the very beginning. My dissertation was in an AI area in cognition, and so we stayed in tune with the developments, and almost all of our efforts with AI is very, very carefully watch. Matter of fact, the tools that we have that we use to train, we don't make those available to the public. It's behind our own firewall. And so we're careful now. Many of our students are doctoral, graduate level students. And so we have introduced them to the back end of the AI work for their benefits of learning about how these systems operate and are trained and so forth. So here, Cin's got this slide up for us. This is a little interface that controls the basic properties of the AI agent in a simulation. Next slide, please, Cyn. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way. And then, so it operates through the chat. And also behind the scenes, it operates in terms of the use of the data that is collected from the interaction. We're very, very careful with safeguarding and non-attribution of the data. Next slide, please.
You know, Andy, I think it's worth noting, I know you wanted to, the data dashboard, you said people can return to the simulation. So the simulation has to retain some memory of their experience in
That's
order
correct.
to let them continue and to have an enrichment based on that.
And
Right ahead.
that's correct. But that data that is used for like identifying your avatar and place, when it gets put into the data for research, it is not attributable to the avatar or the particular markers that we might use associated with, you know, the location of which they teleport into Algernon and so forth. So we use aggregated data that, for tracking the, you know, whether or not these simulations are showing positive results in terms of how people self-report, you know, whether or not the simulation has been helpful and their experiences with it. Next slide, please. So we have these reflection shields that people use to share at the end of the simulation their sense of what they have benefit from participating in the simulation, and that I think we have that in all of our simulations that we've done, where people can share at the end their insights and reflections in addition to what have they done with the activities of the simulation. Next slide, please. Yes, and this is the input window for sharing reflection. And oh, by the way, the AI agent summarizes some key elements of their activity in the simulation that's provided too. And we've done that with other simulations where we'll generate the note cards dynamically for people. Next slide. And Cyn mentioned a dashboard. This is the dashboard. This is behind a firewall. It's not open to the public. So this supports instructors, professors, and of course, if for research purposes, there is institutional reviews that have to be accomplished before any research is undertaken. So the IRB process is followed, and matter of fact, I think at each of our universities we've been associated with, we've been involved with the IRB process pretty extensively. So we're very aware of the IRB requirements for review for working with human subjects. But the data dashboard offers ways to rapidly export for SPSS and SAS statistical packages. Next slide, please. So I know we've been taking some of the questions, and I apologize, I haven't been tracking the chat as closely as Lear, but I'm always grateful, Lear, when you do that for us.
It's always a pleasure, Andy. So, are there questions for us? So, the simulation, some of you may have seen it at VWBPE when I had the little poster in the cave. And so that was one piece of the experience. This piece here uses the virtue spheres and the worldviews and takes it to the next level. We keep blending all of these different traditions to really understand this experience and why things matter. Any questions for us or comments?
And if you're like most of us, questions pop up after you set through a presentation, and you're welcome to reach out to us at any time and inquire.
We have a
Yes.
Yeah, we have a question too, Andy. Not to
Oh, sure.
interrupt you, but there I am. Rosalind mentions, I am looking for ways to help those of us who are caregivers at home. How can we stay strong when working to heal our loved ones? That is the question from me.
My. Rosalind, that is a very special question. It's near and dear to me. In my family, we've gone through the past year the loss of significant others and having to home care and support home care processes for my spouse's mother and the I think we're in a time where particularly as people are dealing with terminal illnesses at a late stage in life, they're very isolated and they're alone. It's very rare actually for loved ones to be able to be under the care of family, and it's very difficult. And we're so spread out around the country. Families are not as nuclear in their location as they once were. So there's a lot of hardship for both the person that's being cared for and the family as well. And I think I would even say that a lot of trauma in the families as a result of trying to figure out how to best help and work with. So yes, I would say, Rosalind, that this work can touch and help, particularly if there was a way to go beyond the simulation and like networks where people can participate with others and share what their experiences are and their challenges. We haven't really been able to do that next level of effort with the things that we do. Do you have any thoughts, Sen, about how people might take some of the information they acquire in a simulation like this to form helpful networks with others that are experiencing the same things? I guess the nonprofit commons and other groups in these virtual spaces offer groups that can do sorts of things, I guess, in that direction.
Yes, each group here counsels and supports social good in their communities. And of course, their communities experience, a wide range of the need for healing. I'll just say that. And so this effort's been going on for a little over a year, but it's not done yet, Val. And you know how it is. You don't really want to conduct research until you have an IRB that's approved. And for those of you new to the research process, an IRB is an institutional review board that says, I am being careful with human subjects' data and respectful of their needs, right? And of course, I'm going to be ethical and considerate. Well, I just said, and so did Andy, that we're using AI agents. And I know some of you are thinking, now, wait a minute, are they always ethical? Can we always trust them? And so, of course, we're still working with them. That's what the training process is. Training is where you develop these things and you test and you watch them mature, And of course, Andy's not using the version that the public is using right off the, so we're not looking at the web's data. So of course this takes time. It's not a short-term effort. Yeah, as Shiloh knows, she's in a 6-month course. For a deep dive into AI, it's not a trivial thing to do. And so we treat it as this wonderful, not just a thought experience, but an emotional healing for us. let's face it, all of us after COVID needed healing. And I don't mean physically, I really mean emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in so many different ways. We were damaged by that, right? Watching the world hurting and watching our families hurt. Right now, I'm not feeling very well, so my apologies. But this experience, we noticed we were getting older. That sounds funny, doesn't it? But several of us retired. And of course, we're not really retired in the traditional sense of putting your feet up and relaxing. We're trying to figure out, how do we finish defining the value of our lives in these spaces, the things we've built and contributed. Excuse me. Andy, back to you.
Yes. Thank you, San. And thank everybody. I was just going through some of the chat, and very, very wonderful comments are being shared. And I need to find my way back here. This is a really wonderful place to come to. I have to come back, Lear. be able to participate in some of the NPC meetings. A wonderful group today. I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you, Andy. My thoughts here is, I don't know about your communities, but in my communities for many years, I would tell people that I'm giving presentations or teaching classes in these worlds or whatever. And they'd say, well, that's nice, but you're just kind of playing games, aren't you? You're just doing artwork and you're just doing trivial little things that really don't matter. And the people you run into in these spaces, do they really matter? And of course they do, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I've put the URI to somebody that was asking how to get out to Algernon. So, well, thank you again, everybody, and I'm just and I want to again. I know we've got several dear friends that are here with us today, and so good to see all of you.
Hey, thank you, dear friends.
Yeah.
And we want to thank the Virtual World MOOC, Nellie
Yes.
and Val and Peonia and everyone on the organizing committee. You are all so wonderful. And every year you inspire us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you to both Lear, Cynthia, and Lee. I think there's a lot to be thought about after this, and I think that caregiving, even on a personal level, whether it's organizationally or teaching, or even as we were talking about on sort of interpersonal levels with people in your life, that this is an important thing. And I always admire the ongoing work that both of you do with Virtual Harmony. And that I get to collaborate with you guys on other things too. Like, you're both amazing humans, for sure.